What's good, gente? Thank you guys once again, like always, for tuning in. As you guys can see on the thumbnail and on the title, right? Wicked slices Doughboy, ex Nuestra Familia member. Damn, homie. And Doughboy happens to be someone that's from Clifford, he was from Clifford. Wicked as well, man. So this was pretty much a hood removal on the dropout side. Damn, homie, that's crazy, huh? So with all that being said, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to hit a like, subscribe, hit that follow, hit that notification bell in case we go live. And yeah, man, thank you guys once again for all the love and support. So with all that being said, let's get right into it. So yesterday's video, people were pretty much asking if I can actually drop a video on Wicked. Wicked, someone from my neighborhood that, I mean, I'm not gonna say he wasn't a hog, bro. Yeah, he was small, silent, but he'll stab the shit out of you. And I honestly don't know why he ended up defecting or why they ended up moving on him. I know it happened in Tracy, but I'm not quite too sure what ended up happening with the homie. I will try to reach out to his brother and see if I can get in contact. I believe Wicked's out, eh? I actually believe Wicked's out, if I'm not mistaken. I'll find out for you guys. So the homie Wicked, man, one day he was in the county. Yeah, it was on the dropout side, but I don't think that the homie Wicked was too comfortable right there, like something about that unit or just the whole little get down, even though he wasn't right there with all like the chomos and like just the weirdos, because like I said in the past, homie, in the county, and at least in this time, there was actually a whole rider pod, and yeah, there was a few like stranglers that weren't part of the whole rider movement, but they weren't weirdos. And I know what some of you guys are gonna say. Well, man, wasn't Doughboy a fucking woo woo? Well, I mean, he is related to some of the homies, and I mean, they gave him pass his way, and actually, because of that, that's what probably ended up saving his ass, because there was a homie that ended up throwing the cape on to actually save the homie Doughboy. So one day, man, Wicked was like I don't know, he wasn't really going through it. Like he didn't really want to be there, homie. I'm not sure if he was trying to go back active or he was just trying to get out that unit. And yeah, some of the homies, man, at least the ones that weren't from Clifford, because the ones that were from Clifford way, they were comfortable homies. They kind of seemed like, oh, that's the little homie from the hood. Even though they're on the defective side, they still see it like that. So the ones that weren't part of the hood, they kind of noticed Wicked like acting a little bit strange. So they were like, we're gonna keep an eye on this fool. And Doughboy, being one that was from the hood, being a phone monster way, right? That lets it go cupcake it and shit. He ended up going to the phone, homie, and when you're in a deep conversation or I mean, having phone sex or whatever, you're facing the wall way, so you're not really paying attention to your surrounding. And especially once you're in a little fucking in a unit or in a pod where you feel comfortable, you don't really have to worry about shit like that, especially if it's mostly homies or unless they're gonna whack you, but you don't really have to worry about shit like that. And Dobo wasn't really tripping, because he was related to some of the homies that were there. Shit, one of his brothers happens to be part of the whole rider movement, or was part of the rider movement. I'm not too sure, homie. Like I said in the past, in Watson, there's no more riders, homie. Maybe in prison, but not in Watson. So let's just say, man, Doughboy happened to be a little bit too comfortable right there, right? So as he's cupcaking it on the phone, he's not paying attention. Wicked seen the opportunity, bro. He had a tomahawk way. I guess he had made a tomahawk. So the ones that don't know what a tomahawk is, it's pretty much 3 razor blades. So I don't know where he got those extra blades, bro, because in the county, the razors only usually have 1 blade. So I don't know where he actually got those extra 2 blades, but he had them though. So he had a homemade tomahawk, and he ended up rushing Doughboy, bro. He ended up actually trying to slice his face. I guess he was trying to get him a puto mark. And Doughboy got lucky, homie. I'm actually gonna say that. Doughboy can't fight for shit, but Doughboy ended up fucking just putting his head down, bro, and taking it away. So I guess apparently fucking to what you were able to see in the beanie, because Doughboy was wearing a beanie, and that's what ended up saving us from actually getting sliced up in the face. So he did get a little love mark, but they said that it was small, bro. Like you probably can't even tell no more. You were able to tell right there and then, because I mean when you get cut with the razor, I mean, if for the ones that know, I mean, I've been cut with the razor way. Fucking, you leak, homie. Like, you'll start leaking like a motherfucker. So, he was leaking, but he did get saved, homie. The beanie ended up showing that he got saved pretty much by Like, I guess the cuts would have been like by his ears, kind of by his eyes. Like, he would have got food good, homie. But the homies ended up saving Doughboy. As soon as they ended up seeing Wicked do that shit, one of the homies that I actually reached out to yesterday, he pretty much told me, bro, that he ended up cracking him, and it went bad for Wicked, homie. But I give that to Wicked, though. Wicked's always been someone that can take an ass whooping way and won't make a fuzz about it neither, homie. That's what something that I actually tripped out on the homie Wicked. So the homie ended up cracking him, and they ended up dragging him, bro. They actually took him back to the cell way. And let's just say like this, bro. The homie Wicked, I'm surprised he made it, bro, because they beat his ass way. They beat his ass bad, homie. And at that time, it was before that one dude ended up dying. There was someone that the active norteños ended up hanging, bro. They had him like a little puppet. And after that, well, everything went like pretty much hella strict, where only 4 cells would come out at a time, or 3 cells. And before, when Wicked ended up doing this, everybody was technically out way. So, like, it went bad for Wicked, homie. I'm not even gonna lie. The homie almost pretty much fucking didn't make it out of there. Luckily for Wicked, they had just done their rounds not that long ago. So, hey, they seen it, homie. They seen him getting dragged into a cell. They came, they snatched him up. And after that, homie, I'm not gonna lie, that's when I kind of lost contact with Wicked, eh? Because that's when I was like communicating a lot in the county, and I knew he was there, homie. So after that, I don't honestly don't know what happened to him. I know his brother's out here in the streets, homie. So I'm gonna try to reach out to Loquito, and we'll figure out what happened to Wicked, homie. I know Wicked's always been someone that's been hella cool with me, so I'll be able to get him on, bro, or I'll be able to get his side of the story way on why he ended up whacking Doughboy. But more than likely, probably had to do something with drugs, homie. You know, probably Wicked ended up doing some lines, and I'm gonna keep it 100, bro. When it comes to some of the homies from like my neighborhood, especially when they're locked up, shit, even on the active side way. That's why how Happy ended up getting the little love mark too. You know, they were all spun out. That probably has something to do with it, homie. That probably ended up making Wicked thinking that, or think that he was back active, or he wanted to go back active, and he's like, you know what, Doughboy's the one to whack, G. And I will say this, man, Doughboy being someone that was part of the Nuestra Familia, you would figure, man, that he would have a little bit more of like awareness or see certain little things like, hey, something ain't right, you know? But with all the stories that I heard in the past, like from Boxer, Baby Jokes, hey, they starting to check out, you know? I kind of honestly feel that Doughboy was someone that was able to maneuver, because he was part of the Nuestra Familia, like in the late 80s, homie, you know? Like early 90s, he was already part of that shit. So fucking, he was able to maneuver, homie. I don't know how he did it, but he found certain loopholes. Probably like Flacco way. You know how Flacco be saying that he was part of the mix, and then you see that he's all super sensitive. Like, how that shit happened? Nah, you know. But that's a whole different story, homie. We're talking about Wicked. And like I said, man, he is a good homie. No matter what, he's still my boy. You know. I gotta be trucha with him, but he's still my boy. And Wicked, even as a youngster, homie. I remember one time, bro. Like I said in the video yesterday, we almost whacked him, homie. There was an older homie, man, that actually wanted to get that full whack, all because he said the wrong thing. G, he said the wrong thing to one of the homies in this picture right here, and even the homie in the picture, fool, was a little bit spooked, way like he was concerned, homie, and that's how the homies ended up finding out exactly what old boy has said. So for the ones that are wondering, well, what did fucking Wicked say, homie? Well, he ended up telling one of the homies in this picture, like, hey, bro, would you still be cool with me, or would you still kick it with me if I end up defecting? These are honestly conversations that you don't have with nobody, homie. I mean, you can't really trust nobody. I know that the homie Wicked felt comfortable having this conversation with them. I honestly don't even know how it started with. The homie never actually got into details of why they were even having this conversation. But they were, you know. Wicked ended up telling the homie, like, hey, would you still be cool with me? And the homie told him straight up, hey, you drop out, homie. You know good. I can't fuck with you, you know. If anything, I gotta get you. And Wicked ended up like, you know, like just staying quiet, homie. He got quiet after that. Started asking for a cuete, you know. So once he started asking for a cuete, the homie got spooked, homie. That's how I kind of seen it. Shit, a couple of the homies actually seen it like that. He ended up reaching out right away, like, hey, well, this fool's over here looking for a strap. What do I do? So we started having a conversation with him, like, well, what happened, bro? So he told us to get down, like, oh, this fool ended up saying this, you know. And as he's telling us, there was an older homie with us that day. Right away, the older homie, what it was that he was spun out, bro. The older homie was spun out. There was a lot of older homies at that time that were twacked out. Shit, probably still to this day, way. Some of the youngsters that were like my generation, they're probably spun the fuck out right now. So what they ended up doing, bro, that homie was like, "Oh no, we gotta whack this fool." So we're having this conversation in the boonies, bro. Like, hey, fool, we gotta pick this fool up, take him up here, and we gotta take care of it. But of course, some of us, man, have a lot of love for the homie Wicked, right? And we kind of like didn't feel like that shit was right. Gee, like, nah, homie, we gotta get everybody together, and it's pretty much a collective vote. So what ended up going down, bro? We all got together. The one that was actually running the hood, R.I.P. to the homie Lokes, started to like talk to the homies, you know, and he did pull the homie Wicked to the side, like on a personal conversation, just to see where his mind was at, you know. And he ended up coming back and pretty much letting us know, like, hey, we're gonna give the option to the homie if he wants to get jumped out. We're also gonna vote to see if we want him out or if we're gonna keep him, you know. So when it came to the voting, of course, man, a lot of the homies had love for him, especially the ones that were his age. They were like, nah, bro, like, that's a good homie, right? So they didn't want to jump him out. And the homie Wicked didn't want to get jumped out neither. He was just concerned, homie, like if he was still going to have certain friendships if shit went south way. But of course, man, that didn't save him from an ass whooping right there. He ended up getting packed out. As a matter of fact, was that when Brown Boy got jumped out too? I'm not sure if that's the same day that Brown Boy ended up getting jumped out. I know there's probably a few you youngsters out there that are like, what? The homie Brown Boy was jumped out? Yeah, that fool ended up getting jumped out for like a week or so. And then we re-jumped him back in and changed his placazo. But that didn't work out, bro. That fool's too dark, homie. So Brown Boy ended up sticking with old boy and shit. But I'm not too sure if that's around the same time. But point is, he didn't defect, homie. The homies gave him another opportunity. They did pack him out, homie, and a couple of the homies still didn't trust him way because I'll tell you this straight up, they didn't want to give him a gun, homie, because the homies asked him, well, why you want the gun for, you know? And he was like, oh, I'm gonna go put in some work. There's some Southsiders that live by my house, and that's the excuse he gave, homie. I honestly think, right, me personally, and a couple of the homies from the hood thought the same thing that he was asking for the gun, bro, since he ended up telling the homie, right, like, hey, what if I defect? Hey, he felt that, like, well, it happened. That old boy did tell on him, right? He did report it to the homies. And I say tell because, I mean, he was concerned, homie, so he ended up snitching on him, right? With the other homies. But he honestly thought that he was going to whack him, bro. That he wanted the gun to whack him. You know, like to keep that secret way, like, fuck, I fucked up. Like, wicked knew, homie. And like I said, bro, I don't know what the homie was thinking to even have a conversation like that. If there's any of you youngsters out there that are watching this video and like, oh, I'm going to ask my boy, hey, what if I defect, fool? Don't do it. You know, more than likely you will get packed out and you might not have the same luck that Wicked had way and end up in the wrong spot, homie. Because like I said, man, one of the older homies did want to take Wicked up the hill, homie. And shit, it would have been all bad way if we didn't fucking push the issue to get some of the other older homies involved, you know. Just be through chat with conversations you have with your boys. So with all that being said, man, I hope you guys actually enjoyed the video. If you did, man, make sure you hit a like, subscribe, hit that follow, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff that helps out the platform. It actually does, bro. And it's highly appreciated over here. So with all that being said, man, like I said, thank you guys once again for all the love and support. I'll catch you guys on the next one, man. Make sure to drop comments. Let me know what you think or what you guys want to hear on the next video. So with all that being said, it's your boy Conejo. I'm out.
And I'm like...